Good evening, how are we all doing? It's a stuffy one tonight, isn't it? Yeah, very warm, I can say, and don't feel overly comfortable. You're never doing this heat, but we're gonna talk West Ham United, and we're gonna talk transfers, and we're gonna talk about some of the players that have come in already for West Ham United. We're gonna talk about some possible players that will be coming in and how the squad looks at the moment. So let's just crack on with it, isn't it? Because I don't want this video to be too long, and it is very warm under these lights. So yeah, I mean, this is how the squad looks at the moment. Obviously, we have brought in Max Kilman and we have brought in Lewis Guilherme as well. So the centre backs at the moment, we do have Mavropanos, Kilman, Aguerd, and Abonga, and you could probably throw in Kalen Casey as well there from the academy. Left back, we do have Creswell, signed a new contract for a year, and Emerson. Right back, definitely a position we need to fill, and there are some options there which we will talk about in a little bit, but at the moment it's just so felt. And then you move into that midfield, and this is where I think there's some unknowns there, isn't there? I mean, you've got Alvarez at the moment. We've also got James Ward-Prowse, Soucek, Paquetá. He can play in that 8 position, by the way. A little bit more forward, you've got Kudus, who can play on the right, left, or central, and I think he may play a little bit more central this season, which is why we are looking for a right-footed left winger to play predominantly on that left wing. Yes, we brought in Lewis Guilherme, but I think he's going to be more, eased in to the side this season, where he will predominantly play on that left-hand side, but will also play in other positions as well, wherever we need him in any particular game. And of course, on the right, you got Bowen. We've also got players like Cornet still up front. We've got Ings, we've got Antonio. Callum Marshall, you can stay in there. We've got some of the academy guys who may come in. They're being used in pre-season, so they may be given a chance, like George Murphy, Freddie Potts, and Lewis Alford. Two players that I think looked really good in our first pre-season game. So yeah, there is room for improvement there. There are some players that we definitely need to bring in, and we have been busy in the transfer market. We are talking to many clubs, trying to get some deals over the line. But what are the main positions? Well, I mean, right back obviously is definitely one. A left winger, as we've already discussed. A striker, 100%. We need a striker. We've needed one for so long. And we need one that's going to come in and hit the ground running and actually work. Because we've really struggled to find a striker who can do that. We also may need a backup for Alvarez, and that's where this one comes in with N'Golo Kante. Over in Saudi Arabia at the moment, obviously he was at Chelsea, he moved there on a free. West Ham looking to try and get a deal done for 20 million. I think it's unlikely to happen, but you never know. It could happen. It is a possibility that we could persuade him to come back to the Premier League. And if so, then yeah, he can play in that midfield. He can play alongside Alvarez, or he can play in the Alvarez role as well. So it would be a decent signing, even though he is 33. He played a lot of football over in Saudi Arabia last season, and obviously played well in the Euros, and I think really impressed in the Euros as well. So yeah, that is a possibility, even though I think it's unlikely. And if we don't get him, we may still look to strengthen, because I feel like we do need at least a backup for Alvarez, because that's something we really struggled with last season when he wasn't in the squad. We did struggle, and we tried to bring in Phillips. That didn't work. So yeah, I do think we're going to look to strengthen that midfield as well. So if we don't get N'Golo Kante, there may be other options that we may consider. Looking at the defence, of course, we did bring in Max Kilman to strengthen our defence, and at the moment we've still got Aguerd, we've got Mavropanos, and we also still do have Zuma and the young Kalen Casey as well. I think we are going to consider offers for Zuma and Aguerd if they come in to try and fund a move for another centre-back, but that's not stopping us at the moment. We are still looking to strengthen that defence. We have had a bid accepted for Tobido. Unfortunately, at the moment, his head's been turned by Juventus, and he is waiting for them to come in. But if they don't, then that is a possible move. But there are some other possibilities that we may look at. I don't have any kind of solid names at the moment, but yeah, another central defender is something that we are really looking to bring in. On that right wing, we got two targets. It's Carl Walker-Peters or it's Wan-Bissaka. Now, it did look like we had called out interest in Carl Walker-Peters. Southampton's asking price was a little bit high for our liking, so then we turned our attention to Wan-Bissaka. But apparently, according to reports, now we have called our interest, and we're going to move our attention back to Walker-Peters, maybe. He didn't feature in their latest pre-season game, so that may be an indication of what's going on there. But I feel like we are definitely going to bring in one of those two. It'll either be Wan-Bissaka or it will be Kyle Walker-Peters. So we will be strengthening that right back position. Now the attack. Now, we'll start on that left wing, of course, and there are a few options that we could put in. We've had names mentioned like Wilfried Zaha, Steven Bergwijn as well, Wesley Gustavo from Brazil. There is the chance that we could go back into him. I think Steiner may be heading off to Brazil at some point to go and have a chat with Lucas Paquetá, and when he does, he may revisit that deal possibly. They are looking to move the player on and have apparently reduced their asking price, but that is still going to be a very difficult deal to get done. So I feel that one is unlikely, but the one that does look most likely at the moment is Reiss Nelson from Arsenal. Now, I spoke to a couple of Arsenal content creators over on TikTok, and they all said that he is a really good player and he could do really well at West Ham United if he can stay fit. He has had some fitness issues, so that may be a concern for West Ham United, but 24, looking to get game time. If he can get a regular run, then yeah, he could be a good signing for us. So I feel like that may be the most likely deal we could get done at the moment, but we will have to wait and see. And then up front, well, there's just many options there, isn't there? I mean, John Duran from Aston Villa was a possibility. It seemed like we were getting very close to signing him, but according to some reports, an ex-West Ham employee, of course, we wanted a more incentive-based payment towards Aston Villa, and they weren't keen on that. So at the moment, I think interest has cooled a little bit, but we may go back to Aston Villa and talk further about that in the future. Ivan Toney has been mentioned before. I am still so unsure about Ivan Toney. I feel like he was really he was at his best before he got banned. He come back from that ban and he didn't really hit the ground running. He didn't really have a fantastic second half of the season at Brentford. Obviously, he was at the World Cup, and I feel like he impressed at the World Cup. I feel like he done a really good job, but there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of interest in him, which I find really strange. Brentford apparently are reducing their asking price because of the lack of interest in him, and they do want to move him on. So it is a deal that we could possibly get done. But I've always said that Ivan Toney, to me, feels like he would want to move to a bigger club, and he may think that he's too big for West Ham United. He's got that ego. We saw that, didn't we? We saw that in the Euros when he was taking that penalty. So it is a possibility, but if he doesn't have a lot of options, then yeah, he may move to West Ham if we go in for him. But yeah, still a little bit unsure at the moment. His attitude and things like that do concern me, but on his day, he can be an absolutely brilliant striker, and we may be able to get the best out of him. So that could be a really interesting deal if we can get it over the line. But there's other players, of course, that we have looked at. I think there's Soloff has been mentioned a couple of times, and El Nesle, of course, has been mentioned as well. So we are going to be definitely looking to get in a striker, but we're going to take our time. We've been bitten so many times in the past. We've made so many mistakes in the past where we've brought in these big names, we've brought in exciting talent, and it just hasn't worked out. So I think West Ham are being very cautious when it comes to bringing in a new striker, because we do not want to mess it up. So yeah, a lot going on. We're talking to teams, we're getting deals in the pipeline. We're trying to get them over the line. And I feel that the business has been really good so far. Bringing in Max Kilman, which was our main target, which I think is really good. Luis Guilherme does look like a young, exciting prospect for the future. May take him a few weeks or months to get used to the Premier League, but could end up being a great sign. And we, of course, have brought in Wes Foderingham as well for the homegrown quota. So, yeah, I feel like probably next we're going to see a right back coming, either Wan-Bissaka or Kyle Walker-Peters. We'll see a left winger come in. We may see another midfielder come in, and a striker, and another central defender. So we could be looking at another 4, 5, maybe even 6 signings this window. So yeah, really exciting stuff coming for West Ham at the moment. And yeah, I feel like there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic. But we're just going to have to wait and see how it goes. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate your time, and if you've liked this video, do not forget to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And for more daily updates, do not forget to follow me over on TikTok, West Ham Fan 86. Thank you very much for watching. Good evening, good morning, good night, whenever you're watching. I'm going to go and open a window and stick on a fan. Have a good night. Cheers.